The year was 2157, and humanity had spread beyond Earth. People lived on Mars now, and on several moons in the solar system. Life was good. Science was better. Humans were pushing farther into space every year. Frank Miller sat in his office at NASA headquarters, reviewing reports from the outer system sensors. As the lead ambassador for extraterrestrial affairs, most days were quiet. Today was different. "Sir, you need to see this," said his assistant, rushing into the room with a tablet. Neptune Observatory just detected something. Frank looked at the screen. An object had entered the solar system, slowing down in a way that defied physics. Not a meteor, not a comet, something else. "Call the president," he said, "and get Dr. Carter on the line." Within hours, the world knew. An alien ship had arrived. It wasn't hiding. In fact, it was broadcasting a message on multiple frequencies. "Greetings from the Galactic Council of Civilized Species. We come in peace." 3 days later, Frank Miller and Dr. Olivia Carter waited in the docking bay of the International Space Station. Dr. Carter was the best xenobiologist on Earth, though until now she had only studied bacteria from Mars. "What do you think they look like?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. "We'll know soon enough," Frank replied, straightening his tie. The airlock hissed open. 3 beings entered the station. They walked on 2 legs, but that's where the similarity to humans ended. Their skin was a pale blue, with patterns that seemed to shift. Their eyes, 4 of them, blinked independently. The tallest one stepped forward. "I am High Counselor Zex Terra. We represent the Galactic Council of Civilized Species." Frank stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth's space station. I am Ambassador Frank Miller, and this is Dr. Olivia Carter." The aliens used small devices that translated their speech. The meeting began smoothly, with basic exchanges about culture and technology. Then came the surprise. "Your species has developed faster than light travel independently?" asked Zex Terra, mandibles clicking rapidly. "Yes, the Henderson drive was perfected 10 years ago," Frank said. "We have explored about 20 nearby star systems." The aliens looked at each other. Their skin patterns pulsed quickly. "This is unusual," said Zex Terra. "You are the 317th species we have contacted, but only the 9th to develop FTL travel without guidance." Dr. Carter leaned forward. "What do you mean by guidance?" "Most species are discovered before they reach such advancement. They are then assisted in their development." Frank noticed the pause. "Is there a problem with our independent development?" Zex Terra's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "We have reviewed your history. Your species shows concerning aggressive tendencies." The room grew tense. Frank kept his diplomatic smile. "All developing species face challenges. We've made great progress toward peace." "Indeed," said Zex Terra, though he didn't sound convinced. "The Council would like to formally invite Earth to send representatives to our headquarters in the Orion Spur. There we can discuss your potential membership." After the meeting, Frank and Olivia watched the alien ship depart from the observation deck. "They seemed concerned about us," Olivia said. Frank nodded. "I noticed. Did you catch how they reacted when I mentioned our military installations on Mars? There's something they're not telling us." "What do we do now?" "We prepare," Frank said, staring at the stars. "We accept their invitation, but we go carefully. I don't like how they used the word aggressive like it was a disease." Olivia looked at the small data drive the aliens had given them, containing information about the Council and its location. "Do you think they're a threat?" Frank took a deep breath. "I don't know, but I do know this. Humanity didn't survive this long by being naive. We'll meet their council, but we'll be ready for anything." As the alien ship disappeared into the darkness of space, neither Frank nor Olivia could have imagined just how soon anything would arrive. 6 months passed quickly. Earth prepared its best and brightest for the journey to the Galactic Council headquarters. William Gregory, A veteran diplomat with 30 years of experience led the team. At his side was Major Samantha Reeves, a military advisor with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. "Remember," William told his team as their ship approached the massive space station that served as Council headquarters, "we are here to learn and establish good relations. But we do not agree to anything without approval from Earth." The Council station was enormous, a spinning wheel of metal and light that housed representatives from hundreds of worlds. When the human ship docked, they were greeted by a delegation of different alien species. "Welcome to Council space," said a tall, insect-like being. "I am Krevox, your assigned guide." As they walked through wide hallways filled with strange creatures, Samantha whispered to William, "We're being watched very closely." William nodded slightly. He had noticed too. Their quarters were comfortable but small. The next day, they attended their first council meeting. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in a huge circular chamber. The humans were given seats far from the center. High Counselor Zex Terra spoke first. "We welcome our guests from Earth. Today we begin assessment of their application for council membership." A holographic display appeared, showing Earth's information. Next to it were the words, "Classification, Potential Threat Species." William stood up immediately. "Excuse me, but what is this classification?" A reptilian council member answered, "Species with high aggression markers and independent military development are classified as potential threats. This is standard procedure." "We came here in peace," William said firmly. "Earth has not threatened anyone." "Yet," said another council member, "your history is filled with war. Your development path is concerning." The meeting continued for hours. By the end, William's patience was wearing thin. Afterward, he and Samantha discussed what they had learned in private. "They want us to disarm," Samantha said, pacing their quarters. "Did you hear that part? To join the council, we would need to reduce our military by 90%. William nodded grimly, "and give them oversight of our technology development." Later that week, they met Lisa Daniels, the team's linguist. She had made friends with a small, furry alien named Triel, who was from a species called the Acrelians. "You need to know something," Lisa said quietly. "Triel told me several council species are pushing for Earth's containment. They're afraid of us." "Containment?" William asked. "What does that mean?" "It means restricting our movement, our growth, our development," Samantha explained, "making us prisoners in our own solar system." The next day, William requested to address the full council. He stood tall before the alien assembly. "Members of the Galactic Council, Earth comes to you with open hands. We seek friendship and knowledge. But we cannot and will not surrender our right to protect ourselves. Every species must have the right to self-determination." His words caused a stir among the council. Some nodded in agreement, but many more showed signs of disapproval. 3 days later, the council voted. Earth watched the broadcast with bated breath. "The council has decided," announced Zex Terra. "Earth is to be placed under trade sanctions and security quarantine until its threat level is reduced. No Earth ships may travel beyond their solar system. Council monitors will be placed at strategic locations." Back in their quarters, the Earth team sat in stunned silence. "This isn't diplomacy," William said finally. "It's the first step toward control." Samantha's face hardened. "We need to warn Earth. They're not just afraid of us. They want to contain us. And I think this is just the beginning." As their ship prepared for the journey home, Lisa approached William with a small data device. "Triel gave me this," she whispered. "It contains records of what the Council has done to other threat species. We need to get this home." William took the device, his expression grim. Earth needed to know the truth about their new galactic neighbors. The Earth delegation returned home with heavy hearts and dire news. Within days, a massive council ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. It broadcast a message to every screen on Earth. High Counselor Zex Terra's face filled the displays. People of Earth, the Galactic Council has determined your species presents an unacceptable risk to galactic peace. You are hereby ordered to dismantle all military forces, surrender all FTL technology, and submit to Council oversight. You have 30 Earth days to comply or face pacification. The word pacification hung in the air like a dark cloud. At United Nations headquarters in New York, world leaders gathered for an emergency session. President Patricia Warren stood at the podium, her face stern. "We will not surrender our right to exist," she declared. "Earth stands united against this threat." For once, countries that had been enemies for generations found common ground. The threat from beyond the stars made Earth's old conflicts seem small. Commander Eric Stanley worked day and night in the intelligence center beneath the Pentagon. The data device Lisa Daniels had smuggled from the Council contained valuable information. "Madam President," he reported during a secure briefing, "we've analyzed the Council records. Pacification isn't just forcing compliance. They've wiped out 12 species who refused to submit." The room fell silent. "How do they do it?" asked the President. "Orbital bombardment," Eric replied grimly. "They target military installations first, then infrastructure. They leave just enough alive to rebuild under Council control." General Howard looked up from his tablet. "Can we fight them? How do their weapons compare to ours?" Eric shook his head. "Their technology is advanced, but not impossibly so. The real problem is numbers. The enforcement fleet they're sending has over 200 ships." Meanwhile, at Berkeley Laboratory, Dr. Alan Blackwood made a breakthrough. He had been studying the scans of Council ships taken during their visits. "Their shield technology," he explained to his team, "relies on a specific frequency modulation. If we can match it and reverse the phase, we might be able to disrupt their shields completely." As the days passed, Earth prepared. Hidden bases were established throughout the solar system. Old missile silos were reactivated. New weapons were rushed into production. On day 20 of the ultimatum, Council representatives landed in Washington, D.C. They were led to the White House, where President Warren waited. "Has Earth reached a decision?" asked the Council representative. "We have," the President replied calmly. "Earth rejects your ultimatum." The alien skin patterns flashed in what might have been anger. "Then you choose destruction. Our enforcement fleet will arrive in 10 days. After they left, the President met with her military advisors. "Are we ready?" she asked. Admiral Perry nodded. "As ready as we can be. The Artemis Protocol is active. Our hidden fleet is in position. And Dr. Blackwood's shield disruptor successfully tested against the Council shuttle when it landed. They didn't notice a thing." The President looked out the window at the Washington Monument, gleaming in the afternoon sun. "How many people know about our full capabilities?" "Only those who need to know," replied the Admiral. "The Council still thinks we only have the ships and bases they've seen." "Good," she said. "Let them underestimate us." As the Council enforcement fleet approached day by day, humanity prepared for the greatest fight in its history. Ships hidden in the Kuiper Belt powered up their systems. Stealth satellites moved into position. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Earth would not go quietly. And the Council was about to learn a painful lesson. Never corner a species that had spent its entire history learning how to fight and survive. The next 10 days were the busiest in human history. Every factory on Earth worked around the clock. Ships that had been hidden in underground hangars were brought into the light. Weapons that had been theoretical were now built and tested. Captain Diane Foster stood on the bridge of her ship, the Defiance, hidden in the shadows of a small moon in the Kuiper Belt. Her mission was simple but dangerous. Establish hidden bases beyond Neptune, where the Council wouldn't look. "Status report," she ordered. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Paul Baker, looked up from his console. "Base Alpha is operational. Stealth systems are working perfectly. The Council ships passed within 10,000 kilometers and didn't detect a thing." Diane nodded. "And the other bases?" "Beta and Gamma will be online in 12 hours. The automated constructor ships are working at full capacity. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Peter Rodriguez worked from his office in what had once been a simple tech company. Now it was the center of Earth's intelligence network. 5 years ago, he had launched thousands of small satellites for global internet. Today, those same satellites were being repurposed. Each one is too small for the Council to consider a threat, he explained to General Howard. But together, they give us eyes and ears everywhere in the solar system. The general looked impressed, and they can't detect the signal. Peter smiled. The transmissions hide in normal communication noise. To find them, you'd have to know exactly what to look for. Not everyone on Earth supported resistance. Senator Richard Blake addressed a small crowd in Chicago. The Council offers peace. Why fight a war we cannot win? We should accept their terms before it's too late. But his words found few supporters. Humanity had made its choice. It would stand and fight. In orbit around Mars, Admiral Karen Mitchell inspected the fleet. Ships from every nation flew side by side. Russian, American, Chinese, European, Indian, old enemies now united. We have 30 capital ships, her aide reported, plus over 100 smaller vessels. The Council fleet has more than twice that number. Karen's expression remained calm. Numbers aren't everything. They expect us to defend Earth directly. They don't know about our forces in the outer system, or Dr. Blackwood's shield disruptor. Dr. Blackwood himself was busy in his lab, making final adjustments to his invention. The device was small, almost simple-looking. The beauty is in the programming, he told his assistant. It analyzes their shield frequency in microseconds, then generates the perfect counter-frequency. President Warren made a final address to the combined military forces. Men and women of Earth, you stand as the first line of defense for our planet. The Council believes we are primitive, divided, and weak. They believe we will surrender rather than fight. They are wrong. Throughout our history, humanity has faced threats and survived. We will survive this too. In Washington, D.C., the Council representatives prepared to leave Earth, confident that the humans would surrender when they saw the enforcement fleet. Such a waste, the lead representative said to his aide. Their planet would have made a fine addition to the Council under proper guidance. In orbit around Pluto, automated sensors detected the first ships of the Council fleet arriving. Right on schedule, 30 days after the ultimatum was delivered, Captain Foster received the alert on the Defiance. "This is it," she said. "All personnel to battle stations. Maintain stealth protocols." Across the solar system, humans prepared for the fight of their lives. They were outnumbered and outgunned. But they had surprise on their side, along with a determination that the Council had severely underestimated. As the massive Council fleet moved confidently toward Earth, they had no idea they were sailing into a trap. The humans they had threatened were about to hit back, and hit hard. The Council fleet moved slowly through the outer solar system, confident in their superior numbers and technology. 200 ships in perfect formation, their weapons primed for the pacification of yet another rebellious species. Admiral Vrax stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the tactical display. Status of the human defenses. "As expected, Admiral," replied his second. "They have gathered their ships near their homeworld. They appear to be preparing for a desperate last stand." Vrax made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Predictable. Set course for their fourth planet. We will destroy their outposts there first as a demonstration." But the humans had no intention of waiting to be attacked. Deep in the shadows of the Kuiper Belt, Colonel Jack Nelson gave the order. "Operation Ghost Spear is go. All ships, execute Phase 1. 50 small human ships, painted black and running silent, detached from hidden bases and accelerated toward the Council fleet. They were stealth vessels designed to be nearly invisible to sensors. On the lead ship, Colonel Nelson watched the countdown. "Prepare to activate Blackwood devices on my mark." The stealth ships slipped between the Council vessels like ghosts. Not a single alarm sounded on the alien ships. The humans had studied the Council's sensor technology well. "Now," ordered Nelson. All 50 ships activated their Blackwood devices simultaneously. The effect was immediate. Across the Council fleet, shield generators flickered and died as the devices broadcast the exact counter frequency. "Fire," Nelson commanded. The human ships launched their missiles. Each one targeted a key system: engines, weapons, communications. The Council ships, suddenly vulnerable without their shields, took massive damage. On the Council flagship, alarms blared. "Admiral, we're under attack. Shields are down across the fleet." Admiral Vrax roared in anger. "Impossible. Where are they? Return fire." But the human ships were already moving to new positions, targeting different vessels. The Council fleet, designed for overwhelming force rather than close combat, struggled to respond. 20 Council ships were crippled in the first attack. Another 15 destroyed outright. The rest scrambled to regroup, but the damage was done. The perfect formation was broken. "Pull back to Mars orbit," Colonel Nelson ordered his ships. Phase 1 complete. Admiral Vrax struggled to regain control of his fleet. "Push forward. We still outnumber them. Set course for the Red Planet." The Council fleet, though wounded, was still powerful. They pushed toward the inner solar system, determined to complete their mission. Near Mars, Admiral Karen Mitchell watched the approaching enemy. They took the bait. Operation Ghost Spear was successful. "They still have over 160 ships," her aide pointed out. "But they're angry and disorganized now," Mitchell replied. "Just as we planned." The battle near Mars began with a fury no human had ever witnessed. Space itself seemed to burn as energy weapons fired and missiles exploded. The Council fleet hammered the human defenses, their superior firepower showing. Phobos Research Station, mankind's oldest outpost on Mars, exploded under concentrated fire. 5 human ships were destroyed in the opening salvo. "They're pushing through Sector 7, reported Mitchell's tactical officer. "Our line is breaking." Admiral Mitchell remained calm. "Exactly as expected. Signal Admiral Rice. Execute flanking maneuver." From behind the moons of Jupiter, previously undetected by the Council, 30 human ships accelerated at full burn. They swept around the battle, targeting the rear of the Council formation. Admiral Vrax realized too late what was happening. "We're being surrounded. How many ships do these humans have?" The human fleet, smaller but more maneuverable, struck from multiple directions. The Council's supply ships, left vulnerable at the rear, were quickly disabled. "Their supply lines are cut," Admiral Mitchell announced. "Now we hold them here and wear them down." The battle raged for hours. Both sides took losses, but the Council fleet, cut off from resupply, and still reeling from the initial ambush, gradually lost momentum. Then the news came that changed everything. Admiral Mitchell, her communications officer, called. "Long-range sensors detect more Council ships entering the system. Reinforcements, at least 100 vessels." Mitchell's face hardened. "So they called for help. Well, we're not finished yet. Signal all commands. Implement Hydra Protocol." Across the solar system, hidden human bases activated new weapons systems. The real battle was just beginning. The War Council met aboard the flagship Defender in Earth orbit. Admiral Mitchell's hologram flickered as she reported from the front lines near Mars. "The Council reinforcements will arrive in 36 hours, she said. "Even with our hidden resources, we cannot hold both fleets." President Warren looked around the table. "Options." General Howard spoke first. "We could pull back, concentrate all forces around Earth, make our last stand here, and let them control the rest of the solar system." "No," the President shook her head. "We need something bolder." Captain Ryan Edwards stood up. His ship, the Retribution, was Earth's newest and most advanced vessel. "Madam President, what if we don't wait for them to come to us? What if we take the fight to them?" Shocked silence filled the room. "Attack the Council directly." It seemed impossible. "Explain." The president said. The council thinks we're trapped in our solar system, Ryan continued. Their headquarters, their core worlds, they're completely undefended. No one has ever dared attack them before. Dr. Michelle Hayes, the communications specialist, added, and we have something else. The data from Lisa Daniels shows the council has been lying to its member species. They've been portraying us as mindless aggressors, but many council species might support us if they knew the truth. The plan was daring, perhaps even desperate, but desperate times called for desperate measures. 24 hours later, as the council reinforcements approached the solar system, the Retribution and 15 other ships slipped away. They used the Henderson Drive to jump to FTL speeds, heading straight for council space. On the Retribution, Captain Edwards addressed his crew. What we do today may determine the future of our species. The council thought they could threaten Earth without consequences. They were wrong. The small fleet emerged from FTL travel near a council outpost world. The aliens were completely unprepared. They had never imagined humans would strike so far from Earth. All ships deploy Blackwood devices, ordered Edwards. Target their communications arrays and defense platforms. Minimal casualties. The human ships moved with surgical precision. Within hours, they had disabled the outpost's defenses without destroying a single civilian structure. Lieutenant Kevin Wright led a special forces team to capture the central communications hub. They moved through the alien structure like ghosts, their training showing in every precise movement. Control room secured, Kevin reported. Dr. Hayes, you're up. Michelle Hayes had prepared for this moment. Working with the data from Lisa Daniels, she had created a special broadcast. Attention, all council species, her message began. We are humans from Earth. The Council High Command has lied to you. The broadcast showed evidence of the Council's history. The 12 pacified species, the secret military buildup, the plans to control Earth's resources. We do not wish war with your peoples, Michelle continued. Our fight is with those who would deny freedom to all species. Today, we invite you to stand with us for a new future, one of true cooperation, not domination. The message spread across council space like wildfire. On dozens of worlds, member species who had long chafed under council rule began to question their leaders. The Retribution and its fleet moved deeper into council territory, targeting military installations while avoiding civilian casualties. At each stop, they'd broadcast the truth. On the council homeworld, panic spread through the High Command. Reports flooded in of human ships striking key military bases. Worse, several member species had declared their support for the humans. This is impossible. High Counselors ex terra rage. How could primitive humans reach our core worlds? How could they turn our own members against us? A junior counselor spoke nervously. The humans are broadcasting evidence of our activities. The Akrelians and Novad have already withdrawn from the council. 3 other species are threatening to follow. In the communications hub of a captured council station, Lieutenant Wright's team made their most important discovery yet: complete schematics of the council's defense systems. Captain, Kevin reported to Edwards, we've got what we need. With this information, we can disable their entire network. Captain Edwards smiled for the first time in days. Send it to Earth immediately, and prepare for the next phase. Back in the solar system, the council fleet stalled its advance as confusion spread through its ranks. Orders from High Command became contradictory as panic set in. The counterattack was working better than anyone had dared hope. 2 weeks of intense fighting had changed the galaxy forever. The Council's Grand Enforcement Fleet lay scattered across the solar system. Many ships disabled, others surrendered. Their reinforcements had turned back upon hearing of the rebellion spreading through Council space. But the final battle would not be fought around Earth. It would be fought at the heart of Council power. The Retribution led a fleet of over 60 ships toward the Council headquarters in the Orion Spur. But they were no longer alone. Ships from 7 former Council species flew alongside them, their crews united in purpose. Captain Ryan Edwards looked at the tactical display. Status of the Council Defense Fleet. They formed a perimeter around headquarters, his officer reported. About 40 ships. Many of their forces have been recalled to defend their homeworlds against rebellions. Ryan nodded. Begin the approach. Alert all ships to prepare Blackwood devices. The combined fleet moved forward in perfect formation. On the council station, panic reigned. Half the council members had already fled. Those who remained argued bitterly about who was to blame. High Counselor Zex Terra watched the approaching fleet with all four eyes. How did it come to this? We only wanted to keep the peace. A junior counselor replied. Perhaps we forgot the difference between peace and control. The space around the council headquarters lit up as the battle began. But it was brief. The council ships, their shield frequencies now known to all, fell quickly to the combined fleet's weapons. Within hours, the council headquarters was surrounded. All escape routes were cut off. They're hailing us, said the communications officer on the Retribution. On screen, ordered Ryan. The face of Zex Terra appeared. The proud High Counselor looked defeated. Captain Edwards, I wish to discuss terms of surrender. Ryan's face remained stern. We will send a delegation to negotiate. Prepare to receive them. William Gregory, who had led the first diplomatic mission to the Council, now returned under very different circumstances. With him came representatives from the rebelling species. They walked through the Grand Council chamber, now half empty, to where the remaining council leaders waited. You have won, Zex Terra admitted. What are your terms? William stepped forward. The old council is dissolved, effective immediately. A new interstellar alliance will be formed, based on 3 principles: sovereignty, self-defense rights, and non-interference. The terms were presented. Each species would maintain control of its own affairs. No species could dictate the development of another. Military forces would be permitted for defense, but aggressive war would be prohibited. And what of those who led the old council? Asked Zex Terra. You will face judgment, William replied. Not for wanting peace, but for the 12 species you destroyed in its name. The treaty was signed the next day. News spread quickly throughout known space. The age of council dominance was over. A new era had begun. 1 month later, the Earth ship Friendship prepared to depart for the new Alliance headquarters, built on the former council station. Its mission: to establish the first human embassy in what was now being called Allied space. Captain Diane Foster stood on the bridge, with Dr. Alan Blackwood beside her. Ready for your first diplomatic mission, Doctor? She asked. Alan smiled nervously. I'm a scientist, not a diplomat. But after everything that's happened, I want to help build something better. President Warren had given them simple instructions. Show them who we really are. Not the mindless aggressors they feared, but not pushovers either. Show them humanity at its best. As the Friendship prepared to jump to FTL, Captain Foster looked at the stars on her view screen. You know, she said to Alan, a month ago, those stars represented unknown threats. Now they represent possibilities. That's always been humanity's strength, Alan replied. We can adapt, we can change, and we never give up. The Friendship disappeared into the darkness of space, carrying humanity's hopes for a new future, one they had fought for and won.